Chapter 10. Do It Right Now. The letters read, Heaven's Gate, in ornate gold letters. Footnote. No connection to the extraterrestrial-obsessed cult of the same name that committed mass suicide in matching Nikes. End footnote. The sign rested on top of the most imposing, elaborate wrought iron gate. To my 13-year-old eyes, it looked like the gate loomed all the way up into the sky. I can't even imagine what my 10-year-old brother was thinking. The gate was like something out of a gothic horror movie. It was completely overgrown with vines. In the 4 years we had lived in Topsfield, Massachusetts, we had never once seen the gate open. We had never seen anyone enter or leave. My little brother and I loved to ride past the big gate on our bikes at the end of John's Lane. We'd always stop for a few minutes, making up stories about what was up there. Was it a scary old witch who hadn't left the house in decades? Did a mad scientist have a laboratory in a big mansion up there? Or maybe, as my brother and I both secretly hoped, it was Batman's house. We were riding our bikes around on a summer day when curiosity got the better of us. We wanted to finally know what was really up there. It turns out we were able to push the gate open just enough to slide ourselves through. We couldn't believe we were inside the gate. We walked up a steep, winding driveway with the most lush foliage and flowers flanking each side. About 5 minutes later, we saw something that we couldn't believe. Another gate. This one was smaller, but equally as ornate. We were getting excited. Only a truly amazing person would have a driveway and a gate like this. We were getting our hopes up. Could Batman really be our next-door neighbor? Oh my God. We passed through the second gate and continued walking up the long, curvy driveway. And in about another 5 minutes of walking, we encountered yet another gate. What? This house was obviously going to look like a castle. Would there be a moat? A suit of armor? The foliage got deeper. There were wild patches of roses that had grown like crazy. We passed a fountain that looked like something from a fairy tale. A creepy fairy tale because it was full of weeds and the water looked green and it smelled. When we finally got to the top of the hill, we stopped. Right in front of us, where we expected the world's most marvelous house to be, was nothing. We walked closer, not really believing this 2-mile-long driveway with its rolling fields of roses and 3 gates could lead to just nothing. What we found was a massive hole filled with cement, the largest concrete slab you could imagine. It was the foundation of a house that had never been built. We were disappointed, to say the least. Why would anyone build such a crazy entrance and plant all this stuff and never build the house? We walked back down, got on our bikes, and went home to play video games. I told my dad what we had found, and after a few hours of being punished for breaking and entering, he agreed to help figure out what had happened. Why wasn't the house built? Was the owner kidnapped? Did they die just thinking about all that yard work? Was he a spy who had to flee before the house could be finished? We found our answer. It turns out that whoever owned the property was planning to build his dream mansion. He started with the gate, and he spared no expense. He spent a fortune on landscaping, flowers, bushes, and trees, and then the other gates. He shipped in gravel for the driveway from Italy and olive trees from Greece. The entrance to this house was going to send a message that the house you were about to enter was the best house ever. And what he had built was beautiful. But unfortunately, he had spent so much money on those details that there was nothing left. He ran out of money. He couldn't afford to build the actual house, and the bank eventually repossessed the property. All that money, time, and effort spent on a fence and no house to show for it. I couldn't help but wonder, what would have happened if he had built the house first? To add insult to injury, my dad told me Heaven's Gate was also the name of a 1980s movie that was infamous as being the biggest box office bomb of all time. I remember how wildly disappointed 13-year-old Ryan was by that big slab of concrete. I had been hoping to go back to school with stories about how I spent my summer drinking lemonade with my best friend Batman and hanging out in his pool. There was no way I could have known it then, but that adventure with my brother taught me two of the most important lessons in life. One, there is no obstacle too big for me to climb over. And two, do the most important things first. Those simple lessons have impacted how I've shaped my work ethic and grown my business. I've carefully prioritized what needs to happen for my business to thrive. A driveway to nowhere is just a dead-end road, but a beautiful house without a driveway is still a beautiful house. And as salespeople, we are constantly faced with obstacles. There are fences we have to leap, shimmy, climb, and fight our way over nearly every day. The last message I want to leave you with is this. Be deliberate about how you grow yourself as a brand and as a business person. Don't have analysis paralysis and overthink everything. Focus on what really matters and then take action. And also, there's no fence big enough to keep you from reaching your goals. Obstacles are just fences, and there are a million ways to climb over them. They're not walls. Walls are impenetrable. You run away from walls. Broken or afraid? That's a wall. Get as far from that as you can. Just bought something you can't afford? Shit, that's a wall. Get as far from that as you can by working harder and earning more money to afford it. I know what it feels like to think you won't make it over a fence. Sometimes, getting to the other side feels nearly impossible, and I don't think I have it in me. But eventually, I find a new way, and I realize I've just had the most amazing sales week ever. I'm so glad I forced myself to keep going and that I found my way to the other side. Shooting Sell It Like Sirhan and working with salespeople who sell all different kinds of products showed me that we all face our own unique obstacles. We all have our own fences to climb over. To be an incredibly successful salesperson, one who is juggling multiple balls and regularly closing, you always have to be prepared to reach, to do more, to do something different. There are countless kinds of fences of varying heights and widths, and some might be really treacherous, like those covered in barbed wire. Chances are, there are some fences that all salespeople have encountered, and those are the ones I'm going to talk about here, including my biggest fence. I'd love the chance to hear about your fences. If we work together, we can always find a way over them. Social media has made it easy for all of us to discuss this. Tweet me at Ryan Sirhan or connect with me on Facebook or Instagram and tell me about your fence. There is no obstacle too big for you to get over. How can I make myself stand out? After my Sunday morning workout, I usually head to my office in Soho. It's my happy time. It's quiet and peaceful, and I spend an hour or two getting organized and prepared for the week ahead. I check out my calendar and clean out my inbox. If you haven't responded to an email I've sent you, you'll be getting an email from me on Sunday morning. Hey, why haven't you responded to my email? Nothing gets past me. Sunday is also my cheat day, so I get to eat Doritos while I work. But today is a little different. I'm meeting with my social media team to discuss a new venture. A few months ago, we decided that I should start a video blog. I realize that I'm a little late to the game when it comes to posting videos. There are 9-year-olds who have millions of subscribers to their YouTube channels dedicated to making slime. But about 11,000 apartments get sold in New York City each year. And there are about 30,000 licensed real estate agents. Most people would look at those numbers and think, wow, the odds are not good for making money as a real estate agent in New York City. Forget about it. I prefer to look at it from another angle. I only did a small percentage of those 11,000 deals last year. How do I make more deals? Why isn't everyone using me? How do I let people know I'm out here and all I want to do is sell their apartment or help them find one to buy? I'm very fortunate that I'm out there on a national scale during the 3 months of the year that Million Dollar Listing New York airs. And now I get to be in the face of America for an extra 2 months out of the year thanks to Sell It Like Sirhan. But what about all those other months? Sure, I'm very active on social media. I post on Instagram. I tweet. But that's not enough. I'm not just going to sit back and hope I get a call from some person who binge-watched Million Dollar Listing while they spent a week on the sofa recovering from strep throat. A vlog is a longer form of social media that gives me a chance to have some fun. I can be super personal and show crazy moments from my life that may or may not be real estate focused. I want to give people a sense of what my weeks are like and show them how hard I work. I know I have 2 shows on Bravo, but it's not enough for me. I'm not being snobby, and believe me, I know when I'm an asshole. I'm just saying I still don't have market share. So the vlog on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Ryan Serhant, go now, is my new expansion of my brand. And if it doesn't work, it's not a big deal. No one will have been harmed during the making of my vlog. There's no good reason not to try it. One of the biggest fences I have to face as a salesperson is finding fresh ways to distinguish myself in a never-ending sea of real estate brokers. The second I think I've left this fence behind for good, it crops up again. And I have to find a new way to hurl myself over to the other side. I always want to do more today than I did yesterday. I never want to look back at my career and think, what if I had tried that? You know where you'll find the most wasted potential? The cemetery. As long as I'm alive, I will do everything in my power to use every ounce of my potential and keep climbing over that fence. Do more. Offer a unique promotion. You can't wait for someone to toss a bunch of balls to you. You can't wait for business to just walk through the door. You need to give people a reason to show up. Autumn in New York is amazing. So I decided to give out free pumpkins from my office in Tribeca. Fall is here, everyone! Rejoice! People who live in Tribeca can most definitely afford their own pumpkins. But that wasn't the point. This was just a fun way to let people know who we were and what kind of services we offer. It's not every day that you get a free pumpkin just walking down the streets of New York City. This was a simple way to make an impact. Talk to your boss and team members about what you can do. Samples? Buy one, get one free for a friend? There's always something you can offer to get people to remember you. Don't just make deals, create deals. Use your sphere of influence to find a new way to distinguish yourself. Amanda, who sold hot tubs, had children and she knew a lot of moms. And guess what? She figured out that hot tubs are awesome for families. It's like a mini pool everyone can relax in. She started talking to other parents, at school drop-off, at the playground, anywhere, about how much fun it is for the entire family to have a hot tub. Now, not only is Amanda the one who sells luxurious hot tubs, she's also the one who can find the perfect hot tub for your family. Think about who you know. Is there something unique about your sphere of influence? Perhaps you sell the best scented candles on earth, and you have lots of artists in your sphere of influence. Share with them that the delicate lavender scent of your candles promotes relaxation and therefore stimulates creativity. Think about what new connections you can make between your product and who you know. I don't have enough money to invest in my career. 10 years ago, when I put on my keeper hat, I realized that I could spend approximately $100 per paycheck to invest back into my business. So I know exactly what it feels like to feel hindered by the lack of a marketing budget. Don't focus on what people who make a lot of money are spending. Stay within your comfort zone. Say you only have $10 a week to invest in yourself. That's enough for just about 50 stamps. Get printer paper and envelopes from work or school and handwrite nice notes to prospects. Stamp and send. If you send 50 letters per week, that would be 2,600 handwritten letters per year. You are guaranteed to get calls with that much outreach, and it only cost as much as 2 Starbucks lattes. There's always a way to invest back into your career, even if you're just starting out. You just have to do it. Do more. Social media. It's free. My social media platforms have been incredibly helpful when it comes to promoting my brand and my services, and I'm proud of how my audience has grown over the years. But I am not a social media expert, and there are probably a billion articles dedicated to the best way to maximize your social media presence. Social media is essentially your public resume. So think about the image you want to project. The best thing about social media is that it's free. It costs you nothing to start posting beautiful Instagram pictures of the hand-knit organic sweaters you sell. Take advantage of the different platforms to grow your network and draw attention to the services you offer. For every 2 personal posts, post 1 photo or video for your business. People want to know what you can offer, but they want to know you too. Remember what we talked about in Chapter 3. People don't like to be sold, but they love shopping with social media friends. Perfect your F3, the follow back. I've been going to the same dentist for years. I've often thought about switching dentists because it would be much more convenient for me to go to one that's closer to my office. Time is money. But my dentist is so thoughtful with his follow back that I think he's probably going to be my dentist for life. About 6 weeks before I'm due for a cleaning, he sends a quick follow-up reminding me to schedule my appointment. And he includes jokes. I get his email, laugh at a tooth joke, and schedule my appointment. Get creative and personal with your follow-back. What can you do to keep yourself in the minds of your customers? Do you sell gardening supplies? Maybe you write the best ever newsletter, sharing great tips for getting your yard ready for different seasons. Or maybe you pick up the phone every day and call each client who has a birthday on that day. That's the easiest form of follow back there is. And I'll bet you're listening and you don't do it. And P.S., follow back and newsletters are totally free. Practice, practice, practice. As salespeople, our bodies and our voices are our tools. It's easy to underestimate how important our body language and the tone of our voice are when it comes to selling. When I was working with Mariel, who sells waxing services, I noticed right away that she tended to loom over her customers. She didn't get down on their level when she spoke to them. This is awkward and makes people uncomfortable, especially when you're trying to sell services that involve them being covered in hot wax. We worked together to find a way for her to interact with people more naturally. Jen, who sold skincare products, also needed to work on her body language. She tended to assume a posture that made her appear shy and closed off. She didn't exactly exude confidence. We worked on using mannerisms that made her appear more open and friendly. Amanda, who sold hot tubs, had the same monotone voice whether she was happy, sad, or sleeping. So, we worked with a voice coach to show her that her voice had range. When you use inflections, people respond to you better and listen to you more. If you can't afford a voice coach, stand in front of a mirror. Make sure your posture and body language are strong and confident, and film yourself talking with your cell phone until it's not weird. Then show the clips to someone you trust and ask for honest feedback. And all the crazy exercises I've included throughout the book to make you a more awesome human, you should be doing those. How do I incentivize myself to reach my goals? Since my early days in the real estate business, I've always backed myself into a corner on purpose. Getting cast on $1 Million Listing New York when I was a very new broker meant things were getting real. The show had confidence in my ability, and that was my first big shot to the head, metaphorically. I couldn't sit around in my apartment watching TV anymore unless I wanted the entire world to watch me fail on television. I had no choice. I had to figure out how to be the best broker. Backing myself into a corner has pushed me to greater heights every year since. I bought an apartment that was 4 times my budget, And the house Amelia and I are buying in Brooklyn will push me to work even harder. By the way, Mom and Dad, it will all work out fine. You don't have to worry, I swear. So, set a goal the way we talked about in Chapter 6. Tell yourself that if you hit your monthly goal, you can buy that thing you wanted. If you don't hit your goal, you can't have it. Do more. Cut out the net. Eric, the guy with the big beard on Sell It Like Sirhan, worked for a company that rented out apartments to kids just graduating from college. He spent 4 hours of his day commuting, which was bananas. I certainly understand that rent is expensive. I'll say it one more time. My credit card got declined at the grocery store. But making a deliberate choice to change your circumstances, backing yourself into a corner, can be the fire you need to get ahead. If you're living with your parents, consider moving out. If you face a long commute and you want to move closer to work, do it. If you're reluctant to fork out the money for full-time childcare because you're not earning much yet, think about what you can achieve if you have everything you really need to succeed at your disposal. I don't want to tell you how to live your life. If you love where you live, that's awesome. My point is that acknowledging what actually might be holding you back from success and dealing with it directly can have a huge impact on your career. Cut out that safety net. Plan a trip. Where have you always wanted to go? For our first wedding anniversary, Amelia and I wanted to go back to Greece. But this time, instead of renting a villa and filling it with everyone we know and bringing along a TV crew, we were going to cruise the Greek islands in our own private yacht. I also had made big plans to eat ice cream during every day of this vacation. Our anniversary is the first week of July, and I marked it on my calendar in red. I've been doing this for years, and now the trips I take are just more extravagant. Every time I see the date of my vacation, A, I get really excited, and B, I feel incentivized to push myself harder. I want to make sure I'm earning this vacation. I'm not suggesting you do something outrageous like rent out the QE2 or charter a private jet, but someday, yes, you should. But plan something that incentivizes you. Have something on the calendar that makes you want to work harder and pushes you during those moments when it seems too hard to get to the other side of that fence. Do the important things first. When I was ready to start building a team, I decided it made sense to look at what the uber-successful real estate brokers did. What did they all have in common? I noticed something right away. They had business partners. That's what I would do. I found a partner and we got to work. But what the work looked like to me and what the work looked like to him were different. To me, the work, especially in the early stages of growing a team, was about making sure we had the business to support a team. To him, the work was more about systems, having the internet set up and creating a good office space. I was out there making connections and chasing business while he was in the office arranging furniture. That partnership didn't work out. But it solidified a belief that I've held deep down since the day I discovered that Batman didn't live in the mansion next door. You must do the important things first. Had the Heaven's Gate guy started with the foundation instead of the big fancy gates, his outcome would have been completely different. Don't wait for perfection to become amazing. I love perfection. My job involves looking at the most beautiful homes in New York City every day. I recently redecorated my Soho office to make it an even more appealing place for people to work, and it looks great. I even added a store with lots of clothes and things with my name all over them. Always expanding the brand, you know. I also admit that I enjoy good suits, and I think I've written about my shoe buying excursions extensively in this book. But not too long ago, I didn't even own a suit. I wore khakis and cowboy boots to showings, and I didn't let that stop me. In my first office, I shared a desk over a burger restaurant on 49th Street. Don't get me wrong, appearances matter, especially in sales. But if you're focusing on creating the perfect gate, you'll never build the perfect house. Do not wait for everything to be perfect before you commit to being an amazing salesperson. You don't need the most beautiful business card to make a sale. Do the most important things first. Building connections, creating business, finding more balls, and learning how to keep them in the air. Look at the most successful people in the world. They don't even carry business cards or wear suits, but they carry themselves like Shaun White at the Olympics. Every day is a victory lap because they've already won. Now you should think the same way, and it will eventually happen. I promise. When you are ready to build a bigger house. When most people set out to build a team, they do it backward. In my world, people plan to build the best brokerage in the world, and they set up a fancy office and hire tons of people and assume that they will enjoy success due to their size alone. The truth is, there are teams of 3 and 4 real estate brokers who do billions of dollars in business each year. Wait, that is a great business model. The amount of business you have should dictate the need for team members. You do not build the team and expect business to follow. You have to honestly answer the question, am I selling enough to warrant a team, before you start building one? If you're selling millions of pencils each year, yes, you need a team. If you're still selling a dozen pencils a month, keep at it and revisit the idea of a team when you have more balls in the air. I now have a team of 60, and that is because I have built my business to a level where it can support a large team. When I started out, it was just me and Yolanda, who is now my director of operations. The two of us laid the foundation for our house. In my finder role, I made the connections and sold real estate. As keeper, I made plans for the growth of the company. Yolanda was the best doer ever. She took care of everything else. Thanks, Yolanda. Things were going well enough that we added an assistant, and eventually our house was ready for a couple of additions. We were now able to support a couple of brokers. We built our house first, the shelter that contains the heart of the business. And sure, as everything started to grow and people began to take notice of us, we paid more attention to the landscaping, the driveway, and the gate. But we did the important things first. Finding the best team members. Energy, enthusiasm, endurance, and education. You're selling more pencils than you can personally handle in a day. Congratulations! You are ready to expand your house to fill it with team members. I'm still learning about the best ways to manage and support my team. Their success is my success. But I've learned that I get my best team members, the people who are a good match for my goals and values, by following the 4 E's. What I want in a team member might be different than what's right for you. But if you figure out what each of these areas looks like for you, and make a point of hiring people who fit the bill, you'll be giving yourself a great foundation for a winning team. Energy. I have a lot of energy, and so does everyone on my team. Energy is infectious, and you either get a boost from the people around you, or you get dragged down. I look for a person who is positive, confident, and has the kind of energy that is easy to connect to. Can we easily have a conversation? Is this someone I can see talking to and interacting with frequently? Energetic people also take initiative and are relentless in getting what they want. That's a good team member. Enthusiasm. Enthusiasm for sales and the product is a given. I look for team members who can inject excitement and passion into anything they are selling. Whether it's a 3-bedroom penthouse with views of Central Park or a small studio apartment that looks out onto a brick wall. Enthusiasm is the key to selling both. If I'm meeting a potential team member, I might put them on the spot and say, "Sell me this desk chair I'm sitting in. Go!" I'll carefully observe how they respond. If I get well, it's black and has 4 wheels, we might not be the best match. If they say, "Oh, this chair is designed to maximize your best possible posture, resulting in greater energy and increased confidence. This chair will increase your sales," we're on to something. Endurance. Sales is full of rejection. We all know this. As I've shared with you throughout this book, I've gone months without selling a single thing, and it sucked. I need team members who won't be fazed by the constant rejection and have the grit to pick themselves up over and over again and get back out there. In sales, your endurance can be the magic sauce that sets you apart from everyone else. Endurance is the toughest trait to assess in a team member, but I've created a trick that works like a charm. I'm sharing it with you later in this chapter, so keep listening. Education, with a lowercase e. Also known as the little e because it's honestly not as important. If a potential team member is bursting with the right energy and enthusiasm, and I suspect that they have the endurance to get through the worst of rejections relatively unscathed, education is considered a bonus. You already know the ins and outs of selling because you have years of experience? Awesome! I always consider education a bonus. You can teach people how your system works. You can't easily teach someone to have enthusiasm, endurance, or the right energy. Serhant's big bonus secret. I actually debated whether or not to include this in the book. This is the trick I use to really tell if someone is right for my team. I was reluctant to share it because now everyone will know my secret and it will render my trick useless. My power is gone. But then I concluded that if you went to the trouble of buying the book and actually listening all the way to the end, thanks by the way, you deserve to be in on the secret. But don't tell anyone. When I receive a nice follow-up email from a potential team member after we meet, I ignore it. On purpose. Anyone who has ever worked with me will tell you that I answer my emails within 12 hours. That's my thing. But not in the case of new hires. I totally ignore them. Why do I act this way? It's not to be a jerk. It's to weed out the people who don't really have the hunger. I want to work with people who aren't going to be deterred by my not answering. They will email me again, letting me know just how much they want to be part of my team. Those who do that are, quite simply, the right fit. My team member Jen interviewed with me just before I was going on vacation with Amelia to Greece. She had followed up with me after our meeting, as any good candidate would. Then I ignored her. A few days later, she followed up again. Now I'm getting interested, reiterating that she really wants to be on my team. I shoot off a quick response saying, "It's been crazy, blah, 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 filming, going out of town." I didn't commit to talking to her about any next steps about working for me. Would she follow up again? She did. This email said something along the lines of, "I hope you're enjoying your vacation. I'd love to talk to you the Thursday or Friday after you return. Which works better for you?" Now I knew that when I got back, I was going to meet someone who might be a good fit for my team. And I hired her. What does the future you look like? I've given sales all I've got, and it's been good to me. But as I write about this crazy ride, I remember that it all started with an insecure kid who couldn't handle a single ball to save his life. He was the anti-salesman. If someone had told that kid, "Listen, it's going to get better. Someday you'll be the most successful real estate agent in New York City. You're going to star in a hit reality TV show, and you'll be so good at sales that you'll get your own show called Sell It Like Serhant," Crying Ryan wouldn't have believed it in a million years. That kid would have just snuck into the kitchen for another contraband chocolate pudding, hoping his mother was asleep so he wouldn't get busted. My career in sales has taken me places I never imagined I'd go. Every time I work with a salesperson, I get excited about the possibilities opening up in front of them because I've been there, and sales has changed everything for me. There are many people I admire, but I don't have a hero. I don't look up to anyone else but me. Everything I do is for future Ryan. And ideally, future Ryan has worked so hard and has been so successful that he can buy his own island and spend the rest of his days eating nothing but Oreos and ice cream. That would be awesome. It would be even more awesome if he had changed the way the world views sales, especially real estate brokerage sales. That would be my win. But until I turn the world of sales on its head and swap the island of Manhattan for the island of snack foods, I'm going to keep pushing myself to do more every single day. I have no interest in being the most improved player from 5th grade. If I'm not growing, I'm dying. And I'm definitely not ready to do that yet. I have a photograph of Old Man Ryan in my office that I made with an app. Everything I do is ultimately for that guy, future Ryan. What does the future you look like? Are you drinking wine on your spectacular Tuscan estate and reminiscing about how whenever you faced a big fence, you'd remember your why and find the energy to leap over? Is future you taking your annual trip to Disney with all your grandkids so grateful you did the work and that the effort it took to climb over every fence was so worth it? Can future you even remember what it felt like to have your back against a wall? Does future you remember all the challenges? Sales is a race. It's a long one. Whether you've been running for years or you just heard the gun go off, you're still going to hit some major highs and lows. But no matter where you are in your course, just keep going. Don't stop. Your biggest sale, your best week, your most amazing year is still to come. Your future you will thank you. Ready, set, go. The Serhant Way. Never forget that fences are penetrable. They're not walls. There's always a way to get to the other side. A wall is something your back is up against. A fence is a mere obstacle. There is no fence that is too big for you to get over. Fence number 1. How do you make yourself stand out? Solutions. Offer a unique promotion. Use your sphere of influence to distinguish yourself. Fence number 2. I don't have enough money to invest in my career. Solutions. Social media, it's free. Perfect your F3, the follow back. Practice your craft. Fence number 3. How do I incentivize myself to reach my goals? Solutions. Cut out the net. Plan a trip. Do the important things first. Don't wait for perfection to become an amazing salesperson. The amount of business dictates the need for a team. Follow the 4 E's. Energy, enthusiasm, endurance, and education, also known as the little e. Acknowledgements. Thank you, Paula Balzer, for helping me create the world of Sell It Like Serhant. Without you, this book would be random deals tied together by random thoughts. Thank you for turning my chaos into a playbook for salespeople around the world. And thank you for being my friend and soundboard. We will laugh together about things that aren't funny for years to come. To Amelia, my beautiful genius wife, for pushing me to write this book, even when I doubted myself every day. You're more than just my better half. You're the whole thing. You're my puffer love munchkin, and I wake up every day for you. To my parents, I love you, and I can't begin to fathom what kind of scary, dark, disturbing place I would be in if it weren't for you. I know I was a little difficult growing up, but look, I wrote a book. It all worked out. To Bob Dad, for teaching me the power of yes, to try everything, love art, and relish the passion in life. To my editor, Krishan Trotman, for believing in a funny, smart business book. And to Mauro DePreta, Michelle Aielli, and Michael Bars for making this book a reality. To Andy Cohen, Sherry Levine, Francis Berwick, and everyone at Bravo for telling the world about me and believing in me for 2 shows. To Jen Levy for Sell It Like Serhant. To Randy Barbato and Fenton Bailey at World of Wonder, and everyone at $1 Million Listing New York and Sell It Like Serhant for letting me live this amazing life. To Danielle King, my executive producer, for your guidance, support, direction, and love. You're one of my best friends, and all your instincts are right. That's why you make TV gold. To my sister Misty for teaching me to run a business. I love you. To my brothers, Jack and Jim, and my sisters, Heather and Jill, for loving me unconditionally and keeping me grounded. To Nana, I want to give you a big hug and kiss, but gently because you're so old. To Leonidas, Despina, Pickles, also known as Mary Faye, and my godfather, Stratos, I love you. To Jordan and Yolanda for being relentless and making us the hardest working and most successful real estate team in the country. To everyone at the Sirhan team for believing in me, my message, and making me look good every day. To Natasha Baluki, Mark Gerald, and Brandy Bowles, my agents at UTA, for helping to make this happen. To my friends, Caleb, Eric, Scott, Jason, James, and Chris, thank you for keeping me from becoming a social recluse. To Frederick, Steve, and Luis, and to the entire cast of the first season of Sell It Like Sirhan, what a ride. You all informed more of this book than you know. And to all my fans on social media, and to everyone who watches my blog on YouTube, and to everyone who watches $1 Million Listing New York and Sell It Like Sirhan, thank you so much. I wouldn't be here without your support.
This has been a Hachette audio production of Sell It Like Sirhan. How to sell more, earn more, and become the ultimate sales machine. Written and read by Ryan Sirhan. Produced and directed by Tommy Herron. Recorded by Ibar Aydin at Audio Media Production. Post-production by Pavel Rivera. Sell It Like Sirhan is also available in print and digital formats from Hachette Books, a division of Hachette Book Group. For more Hachette audio productions, visit us at hachetteaudio.com. Thank you for listening. Text copyright 2018 by Ryan Sirhan. Audio production copyright 2018 by Hachette Audio. All rights reserved. Hachette Book Group supports the right to free expression and the value of copyright. The purpose of copyright is to encourage writers and artists to produce the creative works that enrich our culture. The duplicating, uploading, and distribution of this audiobook without permission is a theft of the author's intellectual property. If you would like permission to use material from the audiobook, other than for review purposes, please contact permissions@hbgusa.com. Thank you for your support of the author's rights.
Audible hopes you have enjoyed this program.